It was hot. It was hot today. I went out this morning, had a doctor's appointment. Got out there this morning. Autumn tells me, I don't know if she was joking with me or not. She must have been. She says it's cold. So I put a long sleeve on, throw a coat on. I get out there and I'm dying. I mean, literally dying. It was so hot. Beautiful, beautiful day though. I don't know. It got somewhere in the 80s, low 80s. It was nice, beautiful, beautiful weather. And it's cooling down again now, though, but we're not going to get cold. And we're not going to get snow, and so I'm happy about that. We've had no winter at all this year. So anyhow, all right. So let's get into some news, shall we? I'll tell you about my guest in just a little bit. Let's see. We've got this flight suspended in Lima, Peru, due to UFOs, according to South American sources. And I had the photo up here, but I don't know what happened to it. I think I accidentally deleted it, so I can't show you what I would have showed you if I could. But you know what? You can go check it out over on unexplainedmysteries.com. They've got it over there. I don't have it on Late Night in the Midlands. Didn't have time to do all that. But yeah, a whole big old row. I don't know how many. There had to have been probably a dozen orbs up in the sky. And so it stopped all air traffic in this area, Lima, Peru. And but yet people still doubt UFOs. Well, you tell me what it was then. You tell me what it was then. I mean, it's incredible. I seen the video and I seen the photos. It looked pretty damn convincing to me. Potatoes actually can grow outside on Mars. Now, this might be good news. So we could have Martian fries. A new research satellite has revealed that it is possible to grow tubers in the conditions found on Mars. A new study published by the International Potato Center has suggested that growing potatoes on Mars actually is possible, providing they are supplied with the necessary nutrients. And they said to test this out, researchers launched a specially designed CubeSat containing everything that a potato plant needs to grow, including soil and oxygen and water, and of course, potato seeds. It was a pleasant surprise, they say, to see that the potatoes were bred to tolerate the stress that they went through and were able to produce tubers in this soil. And they say that because of this, they feel like they can handle extreme conditions on Mars. And so if you go up there, I mean, the problem is you can't live on potatoes. But hey, it's a good start. It's a good start. You get your first McDonald's up there. They'll be serving Martian fries with 19 ingredients. Cannabis boosts risk of stroke and heart attack. We're going to get into a little bit of fake news here for you, folks. Cannabis boosts risk of stroke and heart attack independent of tobacco. A new study finds. New study, huh? I wonder who now. The question is, who did the study and who funded the study? Probably some of the companies that are afraid they'll go out of business. How about Big Pharma, for one? Cannabis itself, they say, now I'm going to tell you what they're saying, itself is harmful to cardiovascular health and increases the chance of early death regardless of related factors such as smoking tobacco, new research reveals. Data taken from more than 1,000 U.S. hospitals found that people who used the drug had a 26% higher chance of suffering a stroke than those who did not, and a 10% higher chance of having a heart attack. The findings held true, this is their truth now, not mine, after taking into account unhealthy factors known to affect many cannabis smokers, such as obesity, alcohol, misuse, and smoking. All right, so let's analyze this for just a moment, shall we? So the findings, they say, held true after, I'm going to say this again, keyword, after taking into an account unhealthy factors. So basically what they're saying is, well, people who smoke pot, they usually smoke cigarettes. Maybe they eat a lot. They have a lot of munchies, so they get obesity. I guess they tend to say that people who are smoking pot are drinking alcohol too. Well, here's the thing. Yeah, those things are very unhealthy, and those things combined with anything, you could be having a smoothie, a fruit smoothie, and add those things to your diet with that smoothie, and it'll make it just as unhealthy. Here we go again with the fake news. This is a really good example of fake ass news right here. So again, I'd like to, and this came from telegraph.co.uk. A lot of propaganda comes from that site, but occasionally you see decent stuff there, but something like this, I mean, come on. It's just ridiculous. What research, what new research have they done? I mean, you look into it, you'll find out who's behind these studies. Big pharma, they don't want to lose anything. The reason marijuana became illegal in the first place is because corporations didn't want to lose out. Big pharma, they got to be able to put it in a capsule, turn it into powder, put it in a capsule. Otherwise, no, you can't have it. So, I don't believe that. They let the cat out of the bag themselves right there, because they say that the findings held true after taking into account other unhealthy factors. So if you're doing things right and you're puffing a little herb on the side, I don't think you got much to worry about personally. But again, I'm not one of those mad scientists in a white coat, so why believe me? Is going gluten-free giving you diabetes? Here's another one. New study links diet with the disease. Funny how whenever you do something for you, they start coming out with new studies telling you it's not good for you. No, the more gluten you can get out of your diet, the better. Personally, that's my opinion. Anyways, moving along. That was our health segment for you. Korea suicide. Donald Trump set to send B-52 nuclear bombers to South Korea after the North fires missiles at Japan, and U.S. warns of overwhelming response. Secretary of Defense James Mattis said the U.S. remains steadfast in its commitment to the defense of its allies. Donald Trump is reportedly planning to send nuclear bombers to the Korean peninsula as tensions in the region reach breaking point. North Korea and the U.S. have been teetering on the brink of war for months after Kim Jong-un, good old Kim Jong-un, which is, I think Rosie O'Donnell plays a couple roles here. I think this is one of them. Kim Jong-un carried out a series of controversial missile launches. What's wrong with this guy? I mean, why keep playing? Why keep poking and poking and poking? I just don't get it with some of these guys, And now I heard through the grapevine, through some past guests here, that they think that the people or some fashion in North Korea is going to take him out. They're going to take out Kim Jong-un because they don't want him getting them into a war with not only the United States, but Japan, South Korea. Wouldn't be good. Wouldn't be good at all. So look, Kim Jong-un, he was probably bullied a lot in school, Kim Jong-un. So now he's got a little piece of the power, so he wants to make everyone pay. Up to 6 injured after axe welding man goes on the rampage. This was in Germany at a train station, and they say that the accomplice was arrested by anti-terror police after jumping off a bridge to escape. 2 people have been arrested after the attack. Anti-terror police believe that others are now on the run after tonight's rampage. I mean, yeah, because these are just loving people who just, they just want a chance. They just want a chance, and they want to share a sandwich with you. That's all. It's all about love until they pull out the axe and chop you up for doing nice things for them. Maybe you should let the refugees stay in your home if you're so for them. Just, lock up the axe. China developing advanced spaceship that can land on the moon. China, they say, is developing an advanced new spaceship capable of both flying in low Earth orbit and landing on the moon, according to state media. Another bold step for a space program, they say that will equal the U.S. Excuse me. The problem is the U.S. don't really have one right now, do they? So China wants to get up on the moon, then they'll have the high ground. They'll have the high ground. But, they might get there and they might get the same treatment we did. They may get told, don't come back again. Who knows? Maybe they know something we don't. They probably do know something we don't. Drones threaten a nuclear facility. Nuclear facilities, they say. Drone aircraft recently carried out unauthorized intrusions over Air Force and Navy nuclear facilities. And the incidents, they say, pose a growing threat. And the commander of U.S. Strategic Command disclosed to Congress on Wednesday of what a threat it is. So interesting. Interesting enough, I'm telling you what, folks, the pollen is so bad here. Kepler's making me leave the window open. So, it's a yellow mess. Everything outside, just a yellow mess. The deck, the windows, you leave the window open, the wind blows it in before you know it. My black table I've got here beside me and ends up totally yellow. I don't want this stuff all over my equipment, but he's not happy if I don't. He'll keep playing with the blinds if I don't open the window for him. So he's making me breathe it. God knows what else is coming in with the chemtrails, but he don't understand because he's just a cat. All right. I don't know. Maybe a couple more here I want to share with you. Oh, here's one. Real Hunger Games gears up for TV launch. I talked about this months ago. It's going to be launching in a bear-infested island in Siberia. Real life adventures to a professional queue. They say that they're going to have international even contestants who will participate in the ultimate brutal television reality contest. And get this, it says where rape and murder are not banned. So they say that if this stuff goes on, fights, rape, murder, they're going to let it happen. This is going to be available for everybody on the internet. I mean, this is just like the Hunger Games. But they're saying that while they won't take any action and they aren't putting up any rules, that Russian law still stands and that the Russian police could do something about it if they want after the contest. That's what they're saying. But it says here, rape and murder, not banned. You know how many sickos? I see they stole my idea. This is what I wanted to do with the politicians, with all the crooked politicians. I think this is the idea I had. Let's put all them on bear-infested islands. Right? And let's take all the rules away. Let them do what they want. The last one standing gets an easy death, right? Or am I being too harsh? I'm probably being too harsh, aren't I? No, I'm not. Earthquake on the beach. Scientists think a 7.4 trembler could reach from LA to San Diego. And see, this is what happens when I get too many days off. I got too much to share with you now. They say that the discovery of missing links between earthquake faults shows how a magnitude 7.4 earthquake could rupture in the same tremor underneath Los Angeles, Orange, and San Diego counties, a new study has found. They say that such an earthquake would be 30 times more powerful than the magnitude 6.4 earthquake that caused the 1933 Long Beach earthquake, which killed 120 people. They say, but to get to a 7.4, the earthquake would not only have to again rupture the Newport Inglewood fault in Los Angeles and Orange counties, but the trembler would also have to jolt the adjacent Rose Canyon fault system, which runs all the way through downtown San Diego, and it hasn't ruptured since roughly 1650. Man, you want to talk about overdue. These two fault zones are actually one continuous fault zone in reality. And so, should it go, you could be looking at one hell of a ride from one end to the next. Not good. Not good at all. As a matter of fact, I'm going to have Dr. Rand join, not tonight, but I'm going to have Dr. Rand joining me in the near future. He suggested something, and I kind of like the idea. Do a show about what happens basically when the grid goes down. Talk more about where we would be in the 1800s. He says it would set us back to the 1800s. So let's talk about exactly how life would change going from then, going back to then in the 1800s. So we're going to put something together for that in the near future. Dr. Rand's he loves talking about this stuff, so we'll talk about it. Now I'm going to take a break. When we come back, I will have my guest with me. He is Dale E. Winther. And we've talked to him before. His book is The Brotherhood of the Beast. His website is www.thebrotherhoodofthebeast.com. And we'll bring him aboard here when we return. This is Late Night in the Midlands on the LNM Radio Network. Don't go away, folks, because I promise we will be back, God willing. All right, we are back. This is Late Night in the Midlands. I'm a sucker for these little catchy tunes. I don't know. Puts a little skip in the step, if you will. So anyhow, folks, we are back, and we're getting ready to welcome our guest on here. I'm looking real forward to it. Oh, it is still going. I thought I eliminated it, but yeah. Let me tell you a little bit about my guest. And folks, I've got some new toys here, so I am playing just a little bit. I've got the, and as a matter of fact, I won't see the chat on a regular basis for another, I don't know, until I've got another piece I'm waiting to come in the mail so I can connect my third monitor. And then I will have the phones up on that. I'll have the chat rooms over here on this other screen, and I'll be golden. But right now I don't have to watch the phones until I'm, calling for calls. But I also get to your questions, so make sure you get your questions, private chat them to me as we move along, and I will get to them. If you're in YouTube chat room, get them to our moderators. The moderators will get them over to me as well. And so, all right, let's see here. Yeah, there we go. All right, so let me tell you a little bit about my guest. I'll tell you, everything is shifted on me here. There we go. Dale E. Winther worked at NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory as an expert in computer science. He designed specialized computers for satellites, the Hubble Space Telescope, the Galileo mission to Jupiter, and many other spacecraft that were sent to Mars, Venus, and other points of interest in our solar system. He has also worked on secret military computer projects, spy satellites, and drones. He was granted multiple patents for his inventions in biomedical imaging, telecommunications, and industrial control systems. As a software and microchip designer, his unique insights into the vulnerabilities that exist in our computer internet-based society led him to write about the consequences of abuse and public apathy. Dale lives in the Sierra Foothill community in California, and we're going to welcome him aboard now, I think. Here, let's see. Oh, yeah, he had problems with his Skype, so we've got to bring him in another way here. So let's do that. Go figure. Good old Skype. I'm so done with it. Good evening, Dale. This is Michael Vera with Late Night in the Midlands. How are you?
Oh, very good, and good to hear your voice again.
Well, it's good to hear yours, too, and I'm looking forward to talking with you tonight, and I hope everything's well.
Oh, we're doing pretty good here. It's it's been a while since we talked. Actually, I heard your voice about 30 seconds ago. So.
Yeah, and I kind of hear it in the background a little. Do you have a speaker or the show on?
No, there's nothing on. No, it's the room. I turned the speaker off.
Okay.
And the phone rang.
All right, we're good then. Well, listen, Dale, I thank you for returning to the show, and we are live, and so I thought maybe we could start out a little bit, maybe give a little brief background on yourself, and we'll get into some subjects at hand. We're in some real interesting times right now.
Boy, are we ever. Well, I've got a lot to talk about, and I think that's why I thought it'd be a good time to chat some more, because we'll get into that in a little bit. But no, I had a very interesting career for NASA at the Jet Propulsion Laboratory. I was one of the chief designers on the Hubble Space Telescope and probably a dozen other major space exploring systems. And it was a great time, and then I went out and invented a number of technologies, and I've just dozens of patents I wrote, and been kind of a busy beaver for most of my life. I have to say I've very much enjoyed doing it. I was as a kid, I was very much into electronics. I think, when I was 6 years old, I took my father's television set apart while he was at work one day. He told me that, those pictures, how do they get in there? And he said, well, they come through the air and down this antenna and through this wire. And I didn't believe him. I said, there must be a projector inside that box. And so I took that box apart, looking for that projector. In the process, taking all the tubes out. He got home. All those tubes were laying on the floor, and I did not have a happy daddy.
I bet. And at the time, it was probably a big deal. TVs are kind of expensive purchase, right, for the household.
Oh, they were very, very expensive. According to income, what we have now.
Sure.
And I got them all back in, got it working. But my fascination with electronics and how things work just took off from there, and made me a naturally born engineer. And then we had this wonderful space program come along. We had the landings on the moon, and then all of the unmanned things going on. And I was so fortunate to get into JPL and be able to work on some of the premier unmanned spacecraft. So it was starting as a child, and my dream came true, and spent most of my career at JPL.
I see. Now, you mentioned the moon, and I'm wondering, it looks like China, that they're making that a target of theirs. What do you think? They getting there soon or what?
I think they probably will. I am just baffled why we haven't gone back. I know we've been there a lot of times. Maybe we've seen enough. I don't know. But what has puzzled me the most over the years is I thought by now we would have at least traveled to Mars with a manned mission. We haven't. It seems that we got a few shuttles up there, and they just stopped doing anything else. The shuttle went up and down and up and down. We didn't do anything else, and then things got defunded, and the public seemed to lose interest in space. And it was kind of a disappointment because I'd like to see somebody on Mars before I'm too old to even notice.
Yeah, that's how I feel. Things are just rolling too slow. You know, when I was a kid, I thought by this point, man, I thought we'd be all over the place and know all kinds of good stuff. And I thought we'd actually, it'd be public knowledge that, we're not alone. But apparently not. So, we're still waiting.
We're still waiting. I thought for sure by now we'd know something. But that was what drove me. When you get back in those years, science and engineering were something for young people to go into because it was popular in the public, it was popular in the media, and we were doing things that they call, don't say this very loudly, something you would refer to as American exceptionalism. But that's how I viewed America, and I lived my life accordingly. And all this talk that we got from the last administration about we're not an exceptionalist nation, I just couldn't get over it. That's been my driving ideology my whole life is to do things well and do things better than anybody else. And we were doing it as a country until they kind of defunded the space program.
Well, I'll tell you what, we have come, and we're not out of this fight yet. We're in a big fight right now, and I keep telling people this, and I want them to understand this is, it was nice. We had our honeymoon period. Donald Trump got in, great. But that's just the beginning of the fight. I mean, the fight is ongoing, and believe me, they'd like to wipe him out, have him either in prison or dead. I mean, that's the truth. This other side, they call them the left, they call them Democrats, and what it is, it's not Democrat, not Republican. It is another. We have been invaded. This country's been invaded, and those who have invaded, they're standing up now because they see their power being taken from them, and that leaves us in a very vulnerable position in this country where you see a division, but the division isn't amongst Americans because anybody who is a real American and knows what America is supposed to be and stand for, well, you're on the side of good. It's those others who want to change what we have here, and I tell you, we came real close to losing it. And again, we're not out of the water yet, but if it switched from Obama to Hillary Clinton, there'd be nothing left. That'd be the end of it.
I can't even imagine what it would be like. I mean, her solution to fixing the economy is to raise taxes. I just about fell out of my chair when I heard her say that.
Oh, we're already the highest taxed country in the world. I mean, right? I mean, or at least we're up there. So, I mean, geez.
Yeah, well, I got, as we talked before, last time I talked, you said, how did I get interested in doing some of these, writing the book, for example. Sure. And it was because when I retired, I was at 62, I retired, and I just was baffled that the world wasn't anything like it used to be. I'm one of these guys that when I put my nose to the grindstone, I study and maybe work 70, 80 hours a week, all on technology. I didn't really pay much attention to what was going around me, kind of had blinders on, and I was shocked that up is down, down is up, right is left. I looked on the TV and just scratched my head. What in the world are they talking about? Well, I kind of, after I wrote the book, I kind of looked around, and then things kind of went to the worst. And I'll tell you, before I get into that, I have to congratulate you on recently getting George Norrie on your show. I think that was a very good interview.
Thank you.
And going back in time, I heard your interview with Roger Stone. Now, do you realize that puts you on the fake news list, and probably now you're a registered enemy of the state?
I probably am. I mean, that's just a couple of a handful of people I've had on the show that has probably put me on certain lists.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, now all of your internet streaming listeners, they have recorded everybody's IP addresses, and you'll be on the list for future investigations.
Yeah, I've had Roger Stone on a few times through the years. He doesn't come on my show as frequent as he does others like Alex Jones, but that's okay. At least he gives me some time, so I appreciate it. But yeah, so yeah, we're in some crazy times. I mean, and here's the thing: is that shadow government, even the fake news. It can't help but to talk about, and Fox News, I know some people think, well, they're better than the others, and there are some good hosts over there. There's a couple good ones I like, but let's face it, it's mixed. It's a mixed bag of nuts over there, and so even they're talking about the shadow government. Did you ever think we would have a president?
I never thought I'd heard that from a mainstream station.
Oh, I know. Listen, I never thought that I'd have a president who would call out the fake news, and I never thought the fake news would ever call out the shadow government. It's like, wow, what's going on here?
This is crazy. Well, let me tell you how I really got myself all hyped up during this last election campaign.
Me too.
I have to confess that I've talked to the Russians.
Uh-oh.
You see, when I was 16 years old, it was 1966, was in the middle of the Cold War with the Soviet Union, and I got my ham radio license, and I made a friend in Moscow. We could use ham radio. They could talk to Americans as long as they didn't talk about politics. And so I had this other teenager friend who was in Moscow. We kept in touch for a long time on ham radio during the height of the Cold War. And then last month I talked to another person in Moscow on ham radio because I got back into it once I retired. But the thing that got me the most is back in the 60s, Radio Moscow, there was a station called Radio Moscow on shortwave, and they would broadcast in English to Americans their version of the news. And they would go on the same frequency band, on the 40-meter ham band, about the same time every night. They would just turn on their big 500,000-watt transmitter and start broadcasting fake news. And as a teenager, I was fascinated by that because I said, this is a propaganda station. It's amazing because you could listen to what they said and you listen to our news, and they're completely the opposite. And I mean, to tell you, that lesson stayed with me my entire life, and I thought, gee, this could never happen in America. We're America. We tell the truth in our news. Boy, was I in for a shock.
Oh, I know. A lot of people were in for a shock. There was people who thought, that we were just like Alex Jones conspiracy nuts when we talked about the news not telling you the truth. I used to tell my father, it's like, Dad, I'm telling you, what you're seeing on the news, it's some of it's real, but most of it, it's twisted. It's twisted to an agenda. And and now he knows. And now a lot of people know, just like we said that you're being spied on, that they're listening to your phone calls, all this stuff. And, if you look back on America here and look back, I don't know how many years you want to go back, but you don't have to go back too many to see how things got switched over. And it's funny, it's all come along like right around the Obama period. I hate to blame everything on the guy, but geez, he was pretty good at what he was trying to do, and that's destroy this country. And think about it. We got the cash for clunkers. I mean, what a brilliant idea. Let's get as many Americans out of the old cars as we can. Let's get them into new cars with new technology so our CIA can, if we need to take over their car or we need to hack into it, we can. I mean, same thing with landlines. We were taken away from the landline and told that the cell phone is the new way. Well, the cell phone now, great. They don't have to have taps now. All they need to do is just listen in. So, I mean,
exactly. They got you no matter where you're at. Not only that, with GPS and your phone, they know where you're at.
Exactly. And all these technologies that they've come out with, and people have jumped on smart this, smart that. You weren't very smart in letting this happen because now all this smart stuff is being used against you as it was intended. So I just wanted to get that out there. I mean, we're going to get into some real depths, and a lot of that is covered in my book, and we'll get to that shortly. Still being in ham radio, I've been listening to last year and talking to hams all over the country during the election phase. And I think it was about 3 months ago I realized that 98% of all the hams were for Trump. I mean, there was no ifs, ands, or buts about it because he was addressing all of the issues that had people worried, like the border, like the people coming in, doing the things with the weapons against the people, the Muslims coming in, and it isn't just the Muslims, it's the radicals coming in, and the fact that Obama would never ever mention Islamic terrorism. My goodness, that would be terrible. And you sit there as an adult and you say, wait a minute, you're not pulling the wool over on my eyes, and neither these people too. This is the great middle of America. I'm talking to people even in your state down there. I could never ever hear one hand that had thought anything positive for Hillary under any circumstances. But then they had these debates, and the post-debate online polls radically favored Trump, some of them up to 70%, and I still remember the mainstream media, the polling process is wrong, or maybe they made a mistake, and one of them, I think, was NBC, posted this thing showing Trump won the debate by 70% just after they got off the air, saying that clearly Hillary won the debate. And I had some friends at the house, and we shook our heads and said, where did they get that? They took their posting of the polls off because they said, well, there must be something wrong with the computer. Yeah.
They were not willing to accept the facts. They just couldn't do that.
I was calling it left and right, and the haters kept saying, oh, you just got your head so far up Trump's butt, you just don't want to admit that he's not going to be president. I'm telling you, yes, he is. Yes, he is, and he was leading the polls, and I told people, and they thought I was just, I don't know, sucking up to him or something.
You should have heard some of these long discussions. Ham's looking around and build a round table, get a half a dozen guys in a group like you do sometimes on your show, and talk about these things. And this was going on for months before the election. So by the time election came, there was no doubt in my mind who was going to win. I had total confidence. I went to the polls that morning and they said, well, I know who's going to win. And nobody believed me that had not been listening, they'd been listening to mainstream media. They says, no, it's just a horrible thing. I watched some of the rallies on RSBN TV, and the next day I would read the New York Times or the Washington Post and other mainstream stories, and I watched the lying TV network reporting, and I absolutely was flabbergasted. Every one of them were in sync, and every one of them were absolute bald-faced liars every day about everything. I've never expected it reminded me it was the worst of the Radio Moscow propaganda that I'd heard as a kid. I mean, I thought, my God, Radio Moscow was more truthful than what I'm hearing on our media. And this really shocked me. I said, how can this happen in America? My God, how can they do this to America?
This past election took a couple years off my lifespan. I can tell you that, because I've never got so involved as I did this time around, because I really believed in Donald Trump, and the thought of Hillary Clinton, holy smokes. Because years ago when Obama first got in office, I predicted that Hillary Clinton would be next. I said, you watch, they're setting her up to be next. And if she don't finish the job, then the next one will be either a gay or a transgender, or there'll be something like that. Just what they were doing is putting people in office that if you fought against anything that they were proposing, you would look racist or bigoted or, something along them lines. And that's how they were setting it up.
Yeah, they were setting it up so anybody that did not know any better would think, well, why do you want to elect why? He's a bigot. Why would you want to have a bigot for president? I mean, I hear things like that. I say, what are you talking about? But then, of course, we do realize that the other terrible thing that mainstream media did is they would never turn the cameras on his rally audiences, ever.
Well,
you watch those audiences of 20 and 30,000 people, and just by not showing the crowd was a serious lie to the American people.
Well, I knew because I went to one of his rallies, and I'm telling you what, that place was packed, and, there was thousands of people going around the building, down the roads, and this was in the very early stages of his running, and so there was no Black Lives Matter blocking the road yet. So
I know it. All that stuff got me kind of shook up, and thought, well, my God, I thought the B media was a little biased, but no, it's mega biased, and that's not American. It's not journalism. We have no journalism at all anymore.
The entire establishment is after me.
Everything.
We're seeing factions of the establishment come out where some of us might not have thought there was establishment. Everything. Right. I could go on and on. Everything from Hollywood to music stars to, you go on. It's unbelievable. All the news outlets, and then you get a couple hosts who poll for Trump, and that's about it. And they're just unbelievable. The establishment is so bent out of shape. You got secret governments going on here, which there's always been, and now it's really stirred up because, man, Donald Trump. He's unwinding everything that they've sewed together. They can't have that.
Boy, I got to tell you, it's the level of corruption. The level of corruption may be beyond anything the world has ever seen. By having complete control over the media and the minds of the people, they were able to disguise this for decades. But now with the internet, people are finding other sources out there. I just heard that only 3% of the mainstream media news is positive about Trump. Even today, he's the active president, with 97% of the articles against him. It's unheard of. When does this ever happen in our country? And I can tell you the majority of the people outside of the zombies, now we do have a small portion of society that is, they're the parrots society, I call them. So, if you say, Polly, want a cracker, they repeat it because they're parrots. And so you've got those. But most people, if they watch the fake news, it's just because they're watching just to see what's being said. And I think most people are awake to the bullcrap now, and thank God. It is so nice to see people, there used to be people who would defend the news all the time. Oh, no, that's real. Come on. They think you're crazy. And now it's nice to see just your neighbors. I could go out to the fence and talk to my neighbor. He's an older guy, and I bet probably a few years ago he would have told me I was crazy. He's not telling me that now. And that's because of people like you. You can only hear the truth on the alternative news and shows like Late Night in the Midlands. Well,
and I thank you for that. But even then, they heard us before. What it took was somebody to get in a position of power and agree and confirm what we were saying. I mean, so, I think not only people like Trump for putting his neck out there, even if you don't like him, people, I mean, you can't deny that since he's come along, man, people have been waking up. The truth is getting out there. The evil is exposing itself. We know who they are now. You can see them. It's written all over their faces. Oh, yeah. Just mention Trump and you'll see. I mean, their eyes turn red and the horns come out of their head.
Well, that's true, and I'll tell you something else I learned today. I talked to my brother, who he's a manufacturing company down in L.A., and he manufactures equipment to help build electronic products. And he said he's going out of his mind. The business since Trump got in office, he says it's just amazing. He says he can't take the orders fast enough. He sells expensive equipment. He sells $200,000 machines, and he says that people are ordering those things all day long because they're all enthused about the new economy under Trump.
Well, yeah, and I seen one of the fake news puppets said that he hasn't accomplished anything. I'm like, first off, he's only been in office 50 days? I don't know, something like that. And he's accomplished more in that time than that other stooge did in 8 years. I mean, we've got jobs coming back to this country. I was so concerned about that. I mean, the jobs, when I first moved to South Carolina, and that was just before Obama took office, I had a choice. There was jobs galore. I mean, I literally sat down and I had offers and I had to choose. And then years later, so many years into Obama, probably halfway into Obama's presidency, it was over with. I mean, I'm looking for jobs and they're not there. I mean, if you want to go work in a convenience store or flip a burger, those are there, but that's it. I said, what the hell happened? Wow.
Yeah, when I was younger in the 70s and the 80s, I mean, you could go get a job. If you don't have a job within 3 or 4 days, then what's wrong with you? You could get a job anywhere, doing anything. It was amazing. Then I see how we've missed all that. And you have Hillary coming out and say, well, it's deplorables. Well, who in the heck created the situation where we don't have jobs? Well, how about farming all the jobs out of the country? How about, putting everything in the hands of a few people to gain wealth while we literally desert half or more of the entire country? That's just what's been happening for years, and we've been silent. We call it the silent majority. And silent too long and silent no more.
Yeah, and I mean, people finally realized, thank God. I mean, it was almost too late. I mean, I have hope now, thank God. But I mean, you could see it coming. This country was set up to fail. I mean, first off, it turned around. The enemy was we, the people, and we know that because our government was spying on us. Still is, as a matter of fact. I wouldn't, you can't trust anything anymore. But I mean, we were the enemy. I mean, freedom of speech. These people are still fighting it. They don't want you to have freedom of speech. They don't want you to have the right to defend yourself. I mean, they literally want to take you down. They want open borders. They want anybody and everybody to just come in because they're all coming in to give you loves and hugs, and they just want to do the jobs we don't want to do. But tell that to the people in Germany who just got axed up. I mean,
Well, what a horror show over there, huh?
Yeah, nice going, Merkel. You the woman.
Germany and France and all in there. It's an absolute horror show. Now, I lived in Holland back in 91 and 92. I actually lived there, and it was a beautiful place. All of that part of Europe was just wonderful. It was, very nice, and it's kind of my home away from home, and it just makes me sick when I see what they've done to Europe.
Oh, I know. It's like a whole nother country now. I mean, and that's what I fear happening here. And listen, people try to play with your feelings, and they say, "Oh, we've got to be more compassionate and this and that." No, we've got to be compassionate for ourselves first. We need to get this country on its feet and get it in order.
Now, how about some compassion for the 100 million Americans that no longer have jobs and they lost their houses and their cars and they have no future for their children? What about some compassion on that side?
Well, according to Obama and all his crew, I mean, that's a privilege, whether it be American privilege, white privilege. You're supposed to be ashamed to be American. Michelle Obama said herself. She said that she for the first time in her life, she's proud of her country.
That was really a shocker. I just thought it was a head spinner. What do you mean? I've been proud all my life. What are you talking about?
Oh yeah, and I don't think she was talking about this country. She was probably talking about Kenya because they finally invaded our country. What they were put in place. I really think that the cheating worked when Obama ran, and it wasn't hard because you had establishment puppets going against them. So nobody cared. I mean, I didn't care. I mean, I did care. I didn't want Obama in there. But, I mean, outside of that, I felt like you were going to get the same agenda no matter who was in. But I think I was wrong. I think Obama, he was the worst. I think if you got the other ones, it wouldn't have been nice, but I don't think it would have got as bad. I think it would have went a little slower, but I'll tell you, Obama, it seems like he
really stepped on the gas pedal.
He did. He was put in place to really do damage. So, I mean, the guy did exactly what he was supposed to do. It just wasn't for us.
Well, I can tell you that we're going forward. We've got all this electronic censorship going. Electronically, things get censored. The platforms like Facebook and Reddit are actively censoring what they call fake news today. And the way they do that is with artificial intelligence bots. Bots are just programs that run around and read stuff on the internet, and they're tracking everything and everybody, and they're deleting stories automatically. They not only look for keywords, they can also read sentences and pick up phrases. And if you say the wrong thing, or if you say anything good about Trump, you're out of there. Imagine something like this in our country happening. Just unbelievable. The other day I read an article where even some lady, some grandma, made a remark about Trump to her grandson on Facebook, and they tagged her Facebook post. So they're going after individuals for even communicating openly on there. This is beyond shocking. You can't get over that. And then I heard Alex Jones was mentioning he got thrown off of an advertising stream on Facebook. I think lost a $3 million revenue stream over that because he was fake news, and they couldn't be allowing anybody that had fake news to be advertising through their medium. Can you believe this stuff?
Well, this is how it's been. I mean, well, we already know that Zuckerberg, I call him Pimple Puss, but Zuckerberg, we already know he's part of the old world order. I call him the old world order now because that's what they are. There's nothing new about them. I mean, they've been trying to control everything for forever and a day. So, but yeah, he's part of it. I mean, and that's what Facebook was set up for. It started out with
people give their IDs, they put their faces on there, who they are, where they live, things about their private life, and they're just busy recording everything. Everything you say and do on is recorded. I was really shocked one night when my daughter was showing me this. We'd taken a family photo, and she put the photo on Facebook, and it went through and it labeled the names of every person in that photo automatically. It looked at the photo, looked at all the pictures, and it identified from the pictures who these people were, including the children, and put their names underneath.
Yeah, I seen that. Yes, as a matter of fact, I seen that. It's like tonight, for instance, when I posted the picture for tonight's show, it asked me. It says, "Who's in these pictures?" And I didn't answer it. I just posted it. So I guess it finds out on its own, right?
Yeah, it does. It goes to databases and looks. Well, they had this campaign where even some of the mails. The mail things that everybody was show me a picture, like Twitter, everybody else is show me a face picture, right? That they're collecting data that way. Everything you go on in social media where you give your face, they now connect your name to the face, and that's how they produced this absolutely incredible database of faces. So now if a camera anywhere sees that face, they can immediately find out who that person is, and that's a very scary feeling.
Yeah, well, yeah, it is. And as a matter of fact, people kept, how they made a big deal about all the police brutality. We got to get cameras on these cops. I think that was all just part of a push to get people to back up again, being able to put us further in a police state, because now what's going to happen is these cops are going to have cameras on them, but these cameras are going to do face recognition. Before they even say hello to you, they're going to know everything they need to know about you. So... yeah, that could be a good thing or a bad thing. I mean, it really can. It depends. Some people, I can see where some good could come out of that. The problem is, this government of ours has never used any of these technologies for good, in my opinion. But I could be wrong.
Well, maybe on occasion.
Okay, yeah, on occasion, I guess. I mean, I trust Trump. But let's face it, he talks about draining the swamp. He's in the middle of that swamp right now, and it's going to take a lot. I pray for him. He's going to need all the help he could get.
He's the swamp is so deep. I found a picture. I don't know where I found it, where he was in the swamp, and his head was just barely the top of his head coming out of the water. And apparently, he couldn't find the bottom to the swamp.
yeah, it's more like quicksand, is what it is.
Well, I tell you, I was remarking to my brother on the phone today. My brother's 72, and Trump is 70, and he said, "How in the world can he have that much energy at 70? And he said, I could never do it. No, I could never do it. It's amazing what that guy can accomplish. And then on top of that, be under this unbelievable stress, people wanting to kill him, people wanting to defy him, people defying his orders, on and on and on, and be able to put up with that kind of stress at 70.
I'm telling you, that's why I think the guy was God sent. I mean, really, I think he was put out there and it's like, all right, well, if these people are smart enough, they'll get him in. And if not, but I mean, yeah. So, I mean, he was running circles around Hillary. She had to lay down and take naps. I mean, and he was still throwing punches at the bag.
I understand he sometimes leaves his staff breathless. They can't keep up with him.
Yeah, as a matter, yeah, I've heard cases where the Secret Service couldn't find him. I've heard cases, it's just he goes. He doesn't wait for nobody. He's got a lot of energy, and he's going to need every ounce of it. So,
well, when I saw him go to 5 different states in one day on his campaign trail, I shook my head in just amazement. How could any human do that?
well, when I seen that, I says this is a guy who really wants to win. I mean, because
no kidding.
Yeah, he didn't take no breaks. He knew what it took, and he did it. And man, I'll tell you what, the only thing I worried about out of the whole thing is I worried about how far did they go with their cheating. And I was hoping that enough people got out. So, because obviously they'd they'd cheat so much and think this is all we need. I mean, it's Donald Trump. And, then one guest and friend of mine, he calls them the crab people. He says the crab people are going to come out. And boy, did they ever come out. These are the ones that hide in the sand. And then at the last minute, they get up out of the sand and go press the button for them. And that's what happened. Yeah. So
we have, it's going to be quite a future. I hope that he succeeds without being taken out either through impeachment or by more violent means before we get some real accomplishment here. It's really scary to think about the danger the man's in.
Well, I think that we'd be looking more towards a civil war, I think, if anything goes down like that, I think, at this point. Because, the other side, most of these protesters, they're paid. This is all paid stuff through Soros, George Soros, Hillary Clinton, Barack Obama, and God knows who else. And they're behind a lot of this. What they do is they pay a certain amount of people. Those people, we got enough, like I said, a parrot society. We got enough idiots out there who will follow along. It's like say I get paid to go and cause problems. I get together with my friends and I say, hey, come on, guys, let's be rebellant. And so they're just stupid, so they follow me. Me, I'm getting paid for it. So, and then, so you get enough people following, and then, you get, that's where these mobs come from. Because let's face it, if you have any brains at all, you know what Trump is doing is good. This is what we need in this country.
Well, that's what throws me for a loop, because all these people protesting Trump, and I think, he's your benefactor. He's going to give you jobs. He's going to give you a future. Why are you doing this?
Yeah, and you don't have to worry about him sicking the military on you. I would with Obama and Hillary Clinton. When people would talk about martial law, I thought, yeah, that could be. I could see something like that happening with them. But, not with him. He's true. He really wants to do the best he can. He's a really smart man, and he just better stay on guard because look what happened to JFK, and Trump is like JFK 1,000 times on steroids. So.
Oh, yeah, this is a real big worry for us. But anyway, let's go on. I'm taking a look at some of the Vault 7 WikiLeaks. I'd like to talk about that.
Sure, absolutely.
Because, what it really is this is the CIA's Center for Cyber Intelligence. They got a fleet of professional hackers with more than 1,000 hacking systems comprised of Trojans, viruses, and other weaponized malware that will attack iPhones, Androids, smart TVs, and you heard the situation with the Samsung TV. It fakes that the TV's turned off, but it really isn't. Instead, it's on, and it's listening to you with its microphone.
Yeah,
and
the fake off.
They're dealing.
Yes.
Yeah, the fake off. And then, and then they've got a number of viruses, and like the hammer drill, brutal kangaroo, the assassin, the hive, the swindle, the cutthroat, and the Medusa.
Oh, hell. Well, listen, I know about
the iceberg.
Yeah, I know about some of these, but I haven't had a chance to go through all of it. So by all means.
There's too many. Yeah.
Well, do share what you do know. That's for sure. So I know about the TV, the off, anything smart, anything. I guarantee they take full control of it anytime they want to.
I can recall back in the days when I first got a flip phone. And it was the first phone I had that had a GPS in it. And they said that was there so they could find you when you call 911. And I'm thinking as an engineer, if they triangulate you from cell towers, they'll get you within 100 feet or so without having to have a GPS in your phone. I said, no, there's a deeper reason for that. Oh, yeah, they can track you.
Yeah.
And I ran, and that's the whole reason they did that, is so they can track you. There's no other reason. The excuse that it's going to save you someday with 9/11 is not good enough because, like I said, with triangulation, they can get close enough. They can get out of the car and listen to where the screaming is coming from, for goodness sake. But to do all that, and it's so good with the iPhones. When my daughter first brought home an iPhone, we looked and we sat on the couch in our house, and there's a Find Me mode in there. You push it and it uses the GPS to find where you are on a map. It has actually a Google map, the one with actually shows the terrain and everything. And so help me, here came a picture of our house, and then it zoomed in on the the annex of the house we were sitting in, and the dot on it appeared directly over our heads on that couch. I thought, this is really scary, and nobody seems to care.
Well, yeah. So listen, I not kid you. I swear, when I say it, I mean it. I have not had a cell phone since October of 2010, and I won't. I've thought about it at times. It'd be nice and convenient, but who's it more convenient for? Them. So I don't have one now. I have technology I have to use in my studio, computers and stuff. So, but I'm all hardwired. I don't use Wi-Fi or any of that stuff. I try, and I would do away with Facebook too, except for all I do there is post show stuff. So I don't put in no personal information. I don't tell everyone, hey, I'm going on vacation on Tuesday, leaving at 1:00. There's a key under the mat,
I got a funny story on that when they first tried Twitter when it was new, and I got rid of it after a month. I thought this is one of the most ridiculous and dangerous pieces of technologies to date. I had a business meeting with a man down in Fresno, and he was a younger guy, like in his mid-20s, and he was an avid Twitter user, and so he said, "Oh, can I get on your Twitter account?" Or, "Sure." And I'm watching, and so help me, he tweets when he goes to lunch. "Oh, I'm at McDonald's right now." Then he tweets, "Well, I'm going to the gym now," and on and on and on. What's the point of that? Not only that, you're telling everybody where you are if they want to have a confrontation. I could not believe why people would do something like that. So I canceled it.
Yeah, I don't get it either, but people do. People do it, and not me. I mean, we went to Minnesota. That was the most recent trip that I took. And, I could have very easily says, okay, I'm now in this city at this. No, hell no. You never know who's going to say, oh, good, now I know where he is. You just never know. So why put yourself...
Well, they have really good tracking tools that individuals can get. Individuals can buy things that they can follow you with if they have to. I mean, it's really good stuff that you're in danger all the time if somebody wants to make, if they want to come after Michael Vera, they're going to come and get you if you have a phone with you.
Well, it ain't even that now either. It's like, I know a guy, I'll mention no name. He's not a friend of mine, but an acquaintance through a friend of mine. And he was going through a divorce with his wife. And he came and he was bragging one night how he pulls up on his cell phone how he bugged the car she drives so he knows where she is and what she's doing. And I was like, I couldn't believe it. But yeah, he says, you just go buy one. They're cheap. So you stick it on the bumper, they don't even know it, he says. And he could follow all day where she's been. Just unbelievable.
You can do that. And you know how small these cameras are now today. They're the size of an insect. You can hide them anywhere. You can bug anybody you want. These things are available to the people that want to get them, and it's hard to fathom. For example, I wonder how in the world anybody can maintain privacy if they have to. I'm surprised they can keep the White House secure from bugs. I really am.
Well, yeah, especially nowadays. I mean, it's impossible. That's why, for me, I don't do anything that I wouldn't do publicly, I guess. I mean, I don't say things when the mic's off. I say exactly what I say when the mic's on. Maybe a few curse words here or there, but that's it. I mean, it's an amazing time we live in, and that's another thing. You say I'm leaving, people can come in and bug you quick. I mean, I seen a video, some kind of CIA training video thing or FBI, I forget what it was, and man, they're quick. They come in, they open it, you wouldn't even know they were there. They don't leave any trace that they were there at all, so you wouldn't know. And they could have cameras set up. I had a woman who contacted me once, and she said that she was being sent pictures while she was sitting at her computer. They were sending her pictures of her at her computer, and she couldn't believe where, she's like, well, how? She had her cell phone right there next to her, but it was off. Uh-huh. I said, yeah, well, I guarantee they turned it on, and that's how they did it. They turned it on. You don't know it's on. They're taking pictures of you.
Yeah, and if they want to bribe somebody, they can say, oh, by the way, now that I've done this, we also know where your child's school is.
I just read an article on the Drudge Report tonight of an attorney he's now in trouble for this, but that's what he was getting people. He set up a porn site, and and it would be free. It was a free porn site, and anybody who would go to this porn site and download anything, that'd be it. He'd go after you for copyright, and he'd tell you either pay him or he's going to expose. Pretty much put it out there for everyone to see where you're going. What sites you've been on.
Oh, my goodness.
I mean, this is where we're at. So people, when you're doing stuff, when you're at home at your computer and you think you're all alone, think again, because you're not. There's somebody who, and if you're the right person, somebody might be wanting to get you. Hell no. I don't know why people would put themselves in those situations, except for they don't know what they're dealing with. I don't know.
They don't know, and even when you do know, you don't realize how extensive the technology is and how much evil is out there. I can remember when the computers first got on the internet, viruses and things of that nature were unheard of for the longest time, and we just never imagined that the people would start using it for malicious applications. But boy, they sure have.
Oh yeah, the internet is it's a wonderful thing. I'm glad it's here, because if it wasn't, I wouldn't be, probably not here anyways. But I'm glad it's here. But it's also, I mean, it's a tool. It's, think about it. Pedophiles don't have to go circle schools no more. They just go on things like Facebook and all these little chat sites that are out there. And so, I mean, it's made it easy for the bad guy too.
Oh yeah, they say, well, just meet me at the park. I got a candy bar for you.
Oh yeah, or hey, I'm same age as you. Yeah, I know.
Oh yeah, right.
Yeah, so then you walk by the guy thinking you're looking for some kid your age, and he grabs you. Anyhow.
Well, let me segue into the book, because I explain things in the book that that people have never thought of, and that's the reason for the book.
All right, please
really
do.
make it and do it great well. I'm going to read 2 paragraphs as we get into what the book.
Okay.
All right. This is right out of the book. It says, on July 6, 2012, President Obama signed Executive Order 13618, authorizing the deactivation or closing of radio stations, services, and facilities during a national emergency. All entities licensed or regulated by the Federal Communications Commission were subject to government seizure or shutdown. The act was used to disable all cellular phones, broadcast radio and TV stations, ham radio stations, and all other forms of two-way radio communications. By order of the Homeland Security, the Internet has been declared unsafe. You will only be allowed to access banking institutions to maintain vital economic activity. The government is completing a new Internet system that should be operating sometime next month. Pandemonium broke out. Online buying and selling, along with all independent news reporting, was no longer possible. Email traffic was halted. The public could not get news or even communicate with friends. Homeland Security shut down all broadcast radio, TV, and cellular telephone systems. Rumors of military convoys headed into large cities were causing widespread panic.
Oh, interesting. Now, this is obviously this is a scenario, right?
This is one of the scenarios in my book where we kind of kick off the. It's a thriller. It really is a science thriller, science fiction thriller, more science than science fiction. By the way, it's about 97% true science, only a little bit of fiction. We had to call it science fiction. It's the Brotherhood of the Beast, and the Beast, by the way, is a cabal of 6 of the wealthiest people in the world.
Anyhow, wow, what a day here today. It was hot. It was hot today. I went out this morning, had a doctor's appointment, got out there this morning. Autumn tells me, I don't know if she was joking with me or not. She must have been. She says it's cold. So I put a long sleeve on, throw a coat on. I get out there, and I'm dying. I mean, literally dying. It was so hot. Beautiful, beautiful day, though. I don't know. It got somewhere in the 80s, low 80s. It was nice, beautiful, beautiful weather. And it's cooling down again now, though. But we're not going to get cold, and we're not going to get snow. And so I'm happy about that. We've had no winter at all this year. So anyhow, all right. So let's get into some news, shall we? I'll tell you about my guest in just a little bit. Let's see. We've got this flight suspended in Lima, Peru, due to UFOs, according to South American sources. And I had the photo up here, but I don't know what happened to it. I think I accidentally deleted it, so I can't show you what I would have showed you if I could. But you know what? You can go check it out over on unexplainedmysteries.com. They've got it over there. I don't have it on Late Night in the Midlands. Didn't have time to do all that. But yeah, a whole big old row. I don't know how many. There had to have been probably a dozen orbs up in the sky. And so it stopped all air traffic in this area, Lima, Peru. And but yet people still doubt UFOs. Well, you tell me what it was then. I mean, it's incredible. I seen the video and I seen the photos. It looked pretty damn convincing to me. Potatoes actually can grow outside on Mars. Now, this might be good news. So we could have Martian fries. A new research satellite has revealed that it is possible to grow tubers in the conditions found on Mars. A new study published by the International Potato Center has suggested that growing potatoes on Mars actually is possible, providing they are supplied with the necessary nutrients. And they said to test this out, researchers launched a specially designed CubeSat containing everything that a potato plant needs to grow, including soil and oxygen and water, and of course, potato seeds. It was a pleasant surprise, they say, to see that the potatoes were bred to tolerate the stress that they went through and were able to produce tubers in this soil. And they say that because of this, they feel like they can handle extreme conditions on Mars. And so if you go up there, I mean, the problem is you can't live on potatoes. But hey, it's a good start. It's a good start. You get your first McDonald's up there. They'll be serving Martian fries with 19 ingredients. Cannabis boosts risk of stroke and heart attack. We're going to get into a little bit of fake news here for you folks. Cannabis boosts risk of stroke and heart attack independent of tobacco. A new study finds. New study, huh? I wonder who now. The question is, who did the study and who funded the study? Probably some of the companies that are afraid to go out of business. How about Big Pharma, for one? Cannabis itself, they say, now I'm going to tell you what they're saying, itself is harmful to cardiovascular health and increases the chance of early death regardless of related factors such as smoking tobacco, new research reveals. Data taken from more than 1,000 U.S. hospitals found that people who used the drug had a 26% higher chance of suffering a stroke than those who did not, and a 10% higher chance of having a heart attack. The findings held true, this is their truth now, not mine, after taking into account unhealthy factors known to affect many cannabis smokers, such as obesity, alcohol, misuse, and smoking. All right, so let's analyze this for just a moment, shall we? So the findings, they say, held true after, I'm going to say this again, keyword, after taking into an account unhealthy factors. So basically what they're saying is, well, people who smoke pot, they usually smoke cigarettes. Maybe they eat a lot. They have a lot of munchies, so they get obesity. I guess they tend to say that people who are smoking pot are drinking alcohol too. Well, here's the thing. Yeah, those things are very unhealthy, and those things combined with anything, you could be having a smoothie, a fruit smoothie, and add those things to your diet with that smoothie, and it'll make it just as unhealthy. Here we go again with the fake news. This is a really good example of fake ass news right here. So again, I'd like to, and this came from telegraph.co.uk. A lot of propaganda comes from that site, but occasionally you see decent stuff there, but something like this, I mean, come on. It's just ridiculous. What research, what new research have they done? I mean, you look into it, you'll find out who's behind these studies. Big Pharma, they don't want to lose anything. The reason marijuana became illegal in the first place is because corporations didn't want to lose out. Big Pharma, they got to be able to put it in a capsule, turn it into powder, put it in a capsule. Otherwise, no, you can't have it. So, I don't believe that. I just, they let the cat out of the bag themselves right there, because they say that the findings held true after taking into account other unhealthy factors. So if you're doing things right and you're puffing a little herb on the side, I don't think you got much to worry about personally. But again, I'm not one of those mad scientists in a white coat, so why believe me? Is going gluten-free giving you diabetes? Here's another one. New study links diet with the disease. Funny how whenever you do something for you, they start coming out with new studies telling you it's not good for you. No, the more gluten you can get out of your diet, the better. Personally, that's my opinion. Anyways, moving along. That was our health segment for you. Korea suicide. Donald Trump set to send B-52 nuclear bombers to South Korea after the North fires missiles at Japan, and U.S. warns of overwhelming response. Secretary of Defense James Mattis said the U.S. remains steadfast in its commitment to the defense of its allies. Donald Trump is reportedly planning to send nuclear bombers to the Korean peninsula as tensions in the region reach breaking point. North Korea and the U.S. have been teetering on the brink of war for months after Kim Jong-un, good old Kim Jong-un, which is, I think Rosie O'Donnell plays a couple roles here. I think this is one of them. Kim Jong-un carried out a series of controversial missile launches. What's wrong with this guy? I mean, why keep playing? Why keep poking and poking and poking? I just don't get it with some of these guys, And now I heard through the grapevine, through some past guests here, that they think that the people or some faction in North Korea is going to take him out. They're going to take out Kim Jong-un because they don't want him getting them into a war with not only the United States, but Japan, South Korea. Wouldn't be good. Wouldn't be good at all. So look, Kim Jong-un, he was probably bullied a lot in school, Kim Jong-un. So now he's got a little piece of the power, so he wants to make everyone pay. Up to 6 injured after axe welding man goes on the rampage. This was in Germany at a train station, and they say that the accomplice was arrested by anti-terror police after jumping off a bridge to escape. 2 people have been arrested after the attack. Anti-terror police believe that others are now on the run after tonight's rampage. I mean, yeah, because these are just